Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Michigan fans stunned today to hear that John Beilein is leaving his post as head basketball coach. Coming up, we're live from the Chrysler Center.
Honoring an icon, the final farewell today to Judge Damon J. Keith.
We're going to begin, though, at 5 with breaking news. 4 people under arrest at this hour after a carjacking and an armed robbery at 2 separate Detroit schools, both while school was in session. They both happened in the span of about 15 minutes this morning on the west side of town.
A parent was carjacked in the parking lot of David McKenzie Elementary Middle on West Chicago and Wyoming, and the armed robbery a short distance away at the Drew Transition Center. Let's get to Larry Spruill. He's live at McKenzie. Larry, police confirmed those arrests late this afternoon.
Good evening, Kimberly and Devin. And they say the two are connected. Now, I want to show you how close we're talking about here. The carjacking happened right here in this parking lot at elementary school. If you follow me over here, the armed robbery happened right over there at that school across the street. And I talked with parents in this area. They tell me they had to take drastic measures. Things outside David L. McKenzie Elementary Middle School are back to normal Monday evening, but just hours before, a woman carjacked here in the parking lot forced the school to go on lockdown, leaving parents like Kaisha Wilson in fear.
I was panicking, and all I could think about is, are my kids okay?
Kaisha Wilson tells me she found out about the carjacking on Facebook while her 11-year-old son, Trayvon Wilson, inside the school. Without thinking twice, she
went straight up to the school. Like I didn't know what was going on. I didn't want to walk. I tried to get there as fast as possible.
Detroit police say everything happened around 9:45 Monday morning. An armed suspect carjacked a woman sitting in her dark-colored 4-door Chrysler 300 in the school's parking lot. He opened the door, ordered her out, and then drove off westbound on Chicago.
She was scared to leave the parking lot. And the police were still there, and they were still trying to figure out how to apprehend this person because they said he was on foot, on the loose.
Just 15 minutes before, police say around 9:30, another woman carjacked across the street from McKenzie here at Charles R. Drew Transition Center. Police tell Local 4 while getting out of her car at the school's parking lot, a man pulled out a gun on her as well. He drove off. I also spoke with an employee here at that school. She tells me the woman involved in that incident over there was a counselor at the school. Meanwhile, police say the 4 suspects in this case they believe are involved in other incidents in this area as well. We are live on Detroit's west side tonight. Larry Spruill, Local 4.
Okay, Larry. We do have some breaking news that we want to tell you about happening right now. Former President Jimmy Carter is recovering from surgery after breaking his hip at his home in Plains, Georgia. The 94-year-old fell prior to a turkey hunting trip. Carter, who is the oldest living president, is currently recovering at Phoebe Sumter Medical Center in Georgia. His surgeon said the operation was successful, and his wife, Rosalind, is with him.
Former MSP trooper Mark Bessner stood in court today and with tears streaming down his face, learned he's going to spend the next 5 to 15 years of his life behind bars. That's for the death of Damon Grimes. Grimes' family was in court as the judge delivered her sentence, and so was our Rod Maloney.
Frank Murphy Hall of Justice is certainly no stranger to nationally watched cases, and this one certainly was because of the use of a taser here. And Judge Margaret Van Houten believed that former State Trooper Mark Bessner was derelict in his duty that day, back in August of 2017, when he fired his taser at 15-year-old Damon Grimes. And now she's gone above the minimums for sentencing.
Our hearts are broken forever.
It took 2 trials and 20 months to get to Bessner's sentencing today. Damon, who went by the nickname Day Day, had family making the case he died way too young. Up first, his sister, Dejanay.
Your vicious, cowardly, senseless act that changed so many lives forever. It was avoidable. The lies and deceit and your bad decisions on that day is why we are here. Your job was to serve and protect, but you used your authority to kill our loved one.
Then Damon's aunt, Helen Stinson, spoke for the family.
We feel like there is nothing to our lives anymore with Day Day gone. As parents, we are broken. We reflect on what he could have been.
Then it was former Officer Bessner's turn. He called Damon's death a tragedy, especially because his parents no longer have him to hug and hold.
And I'm truly sorry. And I want the family to know, the Grimes family to know I am sorry. I think about it every day. And if there were a time machine I could go, that I could jump into and go back and change that outcome, I would. But I can't.
Now, the judge could have given 19 months as the base minimum because of the guidelines here, but she said that the officer, the former officer now, had abused the public trust, and that it was a situation where it made the job more difficult for other officers. She also ordered him to pay restitution of $8,000 to the Grimes family for the funeral. Kevin, back to you.
All right, we see this a lot in a sentence that has a pretty considerably wide spread. What do we expect a 5 to 15-year sentence to work out to be?
Okay, the practical use of this is that Grimes must now serve a minimum of 5 years in prison. After 5 years, he has the opportunity for parole, depending on how he acts or reacts and what his record is after 5 years. He can go up for parole, and the board can hear his case, but that could go out as far as 15 years.
All right, Ron.
Today, a final farewell to a man whose legacy will live on for generations to come, Judge Damon J. Keith.
Funeral today at Hartford Memorial Baptist Church on Detroit's west side was packed, and you can be sure each and every person there had a story, a unique story to tell about Judge Keith. Paula Tupman was there for the homegoing service, and Paula, many moving moments today.
Oh, really? Absolutely. And at 4 o'clock, we were telling you how it was really a lot of it was almost a history lesson in everything that he'd done in preserving and ensuring democracy in the United States. But keep in mind, he's also a father. He was a dad, and the most tender moments truly came from his daughter, Cecile.
Most importantly, I would like to thank my sisters, Debbie and Gilda, who have taken care of Dad.
Equal parts iconic jurist and great family man.
Weekends were his family time. Words were his guideposts.
Clearly a people person on and off the bench.
After church, in the fellowship hall, Mom and Dad would greet folks. Then Mom would go sit in a corner and wait patiently while Dad spoke to another person, and another person, and another person. And those of you who know him know that he made a special point of connecting with each and every person that he spoke with.
Judge Keith was remembered as courageous in breaking the pillars of institutional racism.
And we shouldn't forget, after today, he made wonderful contributions to civil rights, to justice, to so many different things.
I'd like to express our deep appreciation as well for the resolution co-sponsored by U.S. Senators Peters and Debbie Stabenow to award Judge Keith the Congressional Gold Medal, the highest civilian award that can be bestowed by the U.S. Congress.
A few favorite songs.
There is a dawn.
The gratitude of many.
I might not be sitting on a bench. I might not have served as an attorney.
For me personally, he was so generous and so encouraging to me.
You know, so interesting was to see the mix of people who came out, politicians, lots of judges. Some courts even closed so that their judges could be here, and they took up quite a bit of the bottom floor of the church, as well as regular people, the people who vote these folks into office, all joining together to say thank you and goodbye.
Really lovely stories that we heard all morning long.
Looks like a beautiful tribute as
was.
well.
Yeah.
Okay, Paula, thank you. We do have some more breaking news we need to get to right now, this time from Wall Street. And a major slide in the markets this afternoon. The Dow dropping more than 600 points at close. This comes after China announced new tariffs on items from the U.S. in response to U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods that were put in place Friday. President Trump is expected to meet with China's president next month at the G20 summit in Japan.
And just like that, he was gone. Michigan fans woke up to the news. Longtime head basketball coach John Beilein leaving the university to jump to the NBA and become the next head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, saying in a tweet, "It has been a heck of a ride."
Yeah, Bernie's here now with us, and this move really came out of the blue, I guess you could say.
Yeah, they did. Well, I see. Oh, that was good.
Amazing blue. Yeah,
That's enough for me. Well, anyway, you are correct. It did come out of the blue. They were a little stunned at Michigan, and it is truly stunning because last July, John Beilein signed what Michigan called a lifetime contract after flirting with the Pistons about their head coaching job, and there was no word this was even a possibility. But today, Beilein agreed to a 5-year deal to coach the Cleveland Cavaliers. We've got highlights of Beilein. Spent 12 years in Ann Arbor, winning as coach in the history of the program. Took the Wolverines to the NCAA championship game twice. He won 2 Big Ten regular season titles, 2 Big Ten tournament titles, and he takes over a Cavs team that is in the NBA draft lottery, which takes place tomorrow night. So the question is, why at the age of 66 did John Beilein want to do this? The NBA is nothing like the college game. One source told me today Beilein is a brilliant basketball coach, probably would like to see if he can do it on the big stage. Well, standing by live in Ann Arbor with what Michigan thinks of this decision is Jason Colthorpe. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Bernie, and I can confirm that this parking space I'm in has been empty all day, at least since 10 a.m. And why is that important? Well, it belongs to one John Beilein, and it's empty, kind of like the hearts of all Michigan fans today. Now, we did run into one of the players today who had said that he hadn't met with the coach just yet, but that was around noon. Either way, whether they had or hadn't, they were shocked, just like everyone else, to find out. Whether you got the breaking news alert on your phone or heard it on sports radio.
Officials in Michigan confirming earlier today John Beilein has decided to leave the Wolverines basketball program.
It was a gut punch for Michigan fans.
He's gone. It sucks on so many different levels.
Who didn't have a hint this was coming.
It sucks that he did so much great at Michigan basketball, and we all knew how it was before.
I see it and I'm like, wow. I text all my friends and they're like, oh no, like this can't be happening.
Well, I woke up, got breaking news from ESPN. Not a fan. We don't like talking about it. We're already losing like 3 players on the Michigan basketball team. Now he wants to leave.
Losing 3 players early to the draft meant Beilein had to unexpectedly retool his team again in a short time. Instead, the 66-year-old coach will take over a Cleveland Cavaliers team that needs a lot of work after a 19-63 record this year.
He did a monumental thing here, and I mean, I guess now we need to find someone to replace him.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do next year. Like season tickets, I don't know this year.
John Beilein today, if you're a Michigan basketball fan, he just crushed your heart.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of assistant coaches coming and going here since we've been here today. They don't want to say anything about this. We should point out the athletic director also issued a statement today saying there will be a national search coming up. And coming up at 6, we'll have the personal message some fans have for John Beilein, who we should point out was wooed away to Cleveland by a Michigan State grad. Dan Gilbert, back to you guys.
Oh, how about that strategery? I like that. There you go.
So who's going to take his place?
Well, there's a lot of names floating around. The guy from Texas Tech, Beard, who beat him in the NCAA, so forth and so on. I will tell you this one story that Tom Izzo told me a couple of years ago when he was flirting with going to the Cavaliers. Right. He got a call from Brad Stevens. Those two are very, very close. Stevens is the head coach of the Celtics. He told Izzo, do not leave East Lansing. It is a different animal in the NBA. You don't want any part of this. You are the king in East Lansing. Here, you will be a pauper. Do not leave East Lansing.
So my first phone call might be to Brad Stevens.
I would think you're exactly right.
Who was pretty darn good at Butler.
Absolutely right. Yep, that would be it.
All right. Much more ahead on a very busy Monday. Here's defender Kevin. Actually, it's Nick. Sorry.
Nick,
an amazing act of heroism. 2 officers shot. One of them nearly died. You hear firsthand how it happened and why one of them is now considered a national hero.
How does a sweet little girl turn into a human trafficking victim?
I was trafficked for 18 years total. I'm 32 years old and I started getting trafficked at 12.
It's a story unlike any you've ever heard. The defenders with the exclusive coming up.
Bundle up for baseball tonight. Temperatures for the most part in the 40s during this game, but we're going to say goodbye to that starting tomorrow. Wait till you see the warm-up in the 7-day forecast ahead.
All right, Ben, but first, security cameras roll as a man trashes a Detroit gas station, and we'll have that next.